The search for the DCU Dark Knight continues as another actor bites the dust. Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, a fan of Batman, the DCU, hit that subscribe button, talk about it, discuss it with all of you in the comments down below. And I'm going to start this one like I've started the last few, but let me know who you would like to see play Batman in the DCU in the comments down below. What actor is your ideal Batman? Do you have one, or is it just, you know what, you trust the process and whoever we get is who we're going to get? That's frankly where I'm on at this point right now. Like, I'm like, there's so many actors out there, A-list, D-list, whatever. Somebody out there is going to do a hell of a job as Batman in the DCU. Now, they might cast the wrong person, but I don't think they will. I think they're going to take their time. I think that's part of the problem, is they got to really take their time. Is it going to be Robert Pattinson? Probably not, but there's some things have come into play recently. I'm not going to talk about them in this video, but it's kind of like, oh, are we going down that road? Is this going to be another conversation that we're going to have? Because I haven't had it enough on this channel. But look, last week I did a video. Chris Pratt's name was thrown out of the ring. James Gunn said no to Batman, but yes to another character in the DCU, which he's alluded to in the past. And look, whatever reporter was that asked that question, I cannot remember at this time, but Chris Pratt was someone as Batman that never crossed my mind at all. I never even considered Chris Pratt for the Dark Knight. Now, once ever, and I think James Gunn is right. I don't think he's right for that role. I think there are a handful of roles that Chris Pratt could play. I did a video on it, and also there are other characters beyond that I think he could play as well. But one name that the fans really, really want to play this character in the DCU, to play Batman, is Alan Ritchson from Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, who he was Raphael, and he was awesome in that as well, and Blue Mountain State, and a whole bunch of other things as well. But fans wanted him to play the character, and he wanted to play the character, right? He said, I want to play Batman. I screamed it from the rooftop, blah, blah, blah. And there was some speculation that perhaps he would be Batman in the DCU. And then like a few weeks ago, the Brendan Sklenar stuff started coming out, and Jensen Ackles has been a name that's been thrown out there. But now, Alan Ritchson is talking, and he has had conversations about playing Batman, seemingly with James Gunn, and this is from Variety. Alan Ritchson on his super unique dialogue-free revenge thriller Motor City, making action better than anybody, and a conversation he had with James Gunn about playing Batman. And we go all the way to the end of the conversation. You should check out this interview. It is good right here. He says, speaking of what you've got coming, there are some Batman rumors doing the rounds online following some comments from James Gunn about him being a fan of yours. Are you aware of these? And Alan Ritchson's reply is, well, it's not a rumor that James Gunn is a fan. He said it himself, and I am a fan of James Gunn. Absolutely. I don't want to mislead people. Words have been exchanged about Batman, but I strongly don't think that Batman is in my future. I do think there is something in my future with DC, and I would like that to remain true. So as always, when you look at these articles, you hear what they say, you read what they say. Now, of course, when it's in print, it's hard to get the inflection and the tone of what they're saying, but it sounds like James Gunn and Alan Ritchson at some point had conversations about probably just generic conversations. They just had conversations with one another to discuss it. Alan Ritchson probably brought up the prospect of Batman, how he always wanted to play Batman, yada, 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 to which James Gunn probably said, it most likely will not work in the world we are establishing. He probably said that in some kind of nice way. But of course, James Gunn did say he's a fan of Alan Ritchson. Sounds like he wasn't lying about that. I don't think he would. And if he is, that means he probably said, look, we want to work with you. We want to collaborate with you in the future. We'll see what comes up down the line. Now, James Gunn, he said when he was casting Lois Lane that there were two other actresses that he really, really liked and really wanted to work with. They just didn't fit his Lois Lane. He's looking for specific people, and you don't fit the specifications of what he's looking for, no matter how talented you are, he's going to move on to the next one. I think the case was true of David Cornsworth as Superman as well. Like Nicholas Hoult and another actor were right on top, and it just came down to chemistry and what he was actually looking for, and that's what they based it on. So I think Batman is going to be very similar to that. But I think part of the Batman issue with Alan Ritchson, and even more so with Jensen Ackles, is the age. Alan Ritchson is 43, on the verge of turning 43, whatever that is, whatever that, one or the other, whatever. So that puts him, when this movie comes out, between 44 or 44, 45, and 47, maybe 50. Like, he's going to be older in age when he gets there. Not to be an ageist, obviously, but the reality is you're entering a new DCU, a new shared universe that you want to go for the next 10 plus years, right? Like Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, 10-year run as Iron Man, took a break, now comes back as Dr. Doom, but you want at least a minimum of a 10-year run, and you get a 50-year-old Batman that takes you to 60. That limits what you're doing, and the stories have to be a little bit different. You look at who I think is the front runner right now is Brendan Sklenar, and you're saying, okay, you're mid-30s, you match up perfectly with Cornsweet, you're a couple years older than Superman in real life. Now, obviously, you play different ages than your character, obviously, but you still want somebody in that age group. So you look at him, you say, okay, you're in that age that we're looking for, the Superman age group that we're going. And of course, you see that he is bulking up now. You hear Blake Lively in interviews saying, or in Twitters and Instagram posts and all the social media, whatever, that she's heard that he has been cast. So there's that possibility. He's shaping up. You see James Gunn dropping hints like he's watching the show that he's on. There's little tidbits, little nuggets that are being dropped on Sklenar being Batman. Now, again, I don't know if that's true, but he fits. He right now, from everything we know about everything, he seems to fit what James Gunn is looking for in the Batman character to enter into the DCU. The only question is, right now, his age fits perfectly. Will it fit perfectly in a year? Of course, he always will line up with David Cornsweet, but when is this Batman entering? It also puts him, I think he's younger than Robert Pattinson, around the same age. Pattinson's supposed to be playing a younger Batman. Again, I think the one thing, though, with Batman, unless they're casting him for a cameo first, you've got to have that script written for Batman. The Batman script has to be written before you can cast the character, because you have to know what Batman is, but also, just like with David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan and all of them, is they have, and Nicholas Hoult, right? You have to have them chemistry match with each other, right? Who is Batman? Is it Batman chemistry testing with the actor that's going to be playing Damian Wayne? Like, you have to know if they're a right fit for one another. So either they're going to start with him and just be like, everyone else has to match with him, or they're going to go through a rigorous process like they did with casting Superman. For the time being, though, it looks like Alan Ritchson's taking his name out of the hat to be Batman. Nope, get Batman out of here. He doesn't want to mislead anybody. He doesn't want us to talk about it anymore. Maybe it's hurting him. Maybe he knows he's not going to be Batman. He keeps saying that people want him to be Batman. He goes, you know what? I'm not going to be Batman, but I promise you I will be in the DCU. I will have a role here. I'm hoping Aquaman, full circle, he's going to have a role in the DCU. What that's going to be, what that is, and what that will be remain to be seen. Maybe we'll do a video on that later on. Let me know your thoughts, who you'd like to see him play in the comments down below. I think there's a ton of characters that Alan Ritchson could play, and they could be, and you know what, the thing with James Gunn is he likes those lesser known characters, and I think there's a few of those that he might fit the bill on as well. But that's all the time I've got today. I want to thank you guys for watching this, for paying attention, for liking, subscribing. I appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much, everybody. Hit the like, subscribe, and until next time, may be the master of your own universe.